By uniting our intentions, we create a wave of love that traverses all dimensions, touching each being with its divine essence.
If your mind took instructions from you, would you create anxiety? Just do the simple sadhana, all of you. You can't do any other yoga. This much you can do, isn't it? You will see, half your anxiety will start settling down. Because essentially the conflict is, there are two dimensions within you. If your mind took instructions from you, would you create anxiety? No. So don't look for answers elsewhere. It is just that your own physiology and your psychological patterns not taking instructions from you. So you said so many things, I try, whatever these big words are floating all over California particularly, about surrendering to it, about letting it go, about… Not for one person has such a thing worked, ever. Has it, I'm asking you? You have anxiety, try to let it go. Does it go? Even a damn flu doesn't go. Yes or no? Even a simple cold does not go, you say go, does it go? So, let's not get into this fanciful states of surrendering, these are all words thrown around. Nobody knows what is surrender. Because when it happens, you will not know it has happened. You can't do it, I surrendered. How's that possible? So, leaving those things, essentially, as I said, you have not read the user's manual of how this works. We need to pay attention to this. The system is made in such a way, if you hold your hand like this, it'll work one way. If you do like this, it'll work another way. If you do like that, it'll work another way. It's a phenomenal process. If it was a simple thing, we could have just beaten it into shape with hammer and anvil, okay? It's too sophisticated. It's a phenomenally complex machine. One needs to pay a certain level of attention to be able to use it for what it is designed for. Otherwise, it'll get itself messed up. Now, there may be many factors, there may be genetic factors, there may be sociological factors, there may be growing up issues, various things. But do not ascribe your problems to any of those things. The important thing is just this, you are not able to have your mind the way you want it. That's the only problem you have, isn't it? The moment you ascribe it, I'm like this because my father was like that, I'm like this because my grandfather's genetics were not okay, you're finished. Because we can't change those guys now. Yes? You can't choose a different father or a different grandfather now, it's over. But you can transform this. You must understand, still it doesn't matter you have anxiety disorder. Still, if you put a piece of carrot, there is an intelligence here which can transform a carrot into a human being. That means every day a new body is being manufactured within you, isn't it? In parts, a new human being is manufactured every day. When the very source of creation is functioning within you and a new human being is constantly being created, if you take little charge of that, you can create an entire new physiological and psychological process. This happened to us some time ago. Last year, we were trekking in Tibet. I was in a tent, I was doing some work and another person was cutting an apple. One of these porcelain knives these days. So the other person around says to this person, "It's a very sharp knife, be careful." It irritates me a bit. I look like this because he's a grown man. If it's a child, it's different. Then we have to watch how he uses the knife. It's a full-grown man and a knife is supposed to be sharp. If it's not sharp, why do you call it a knife? So I ignored it and continued to work. In another 2 minutes, she says again, "It's a very sharp knife, be careful." I said, "Come on, he's a full-grown man, leave him alone, he knows how to use this knife. This stupid knife can't he handle? It's not some earth-moving machinery or spacecraft or something that he doesn't know how to handle. It's a knife." He says, "No, Sadhguru, it's a very sharp knife." And I continue what I'm doing. In another 2 minutes, she whispers to him, "Please be careful, very sharp." And in another 2 minutes, he cuts his finger. Then I give up, okay. This is all that's happening. This is all that's happening with life. You have an intellect for which you don't have a stable enough platform. Or in other words, you have a sharp knife, a very sharp knife a very sharp knife in your hand, but your hand is not steady. Please see, it's your own mind which is causing all this pain, isn't it? Yes or no? So you have a very sharp knife, the sharper it is, the more you cut yourself. So we don't have to blunt the knife, we just have to have a steady hand, isn't it? Nothing has been done about that. People are trying to blunt the knife with all these sedatives and nonsense. What you take is to blunt the knife. Blunting the knife is not the answer, because if you lower the possibilities of who you are, everything will be okay. If you remove half of your brain, you will be quite peaceful. Because it takes some brain to cause anxiety. If we really remove half of your brain, you will be quite peaceful and you may even be happy, actually. Nothing bothers you. You'll be okay. All right? But that's not what we're looking for. What a human being is looking for is to become limitless in some way. And if this has to happen, you have to create a steady platform. Knife need not be taken away, knife need not be blunted. Only thing is, hand needs to be steadied, isn't it? No process. What inner engineering means, what yoga means is just this. When I say yoga, being in California, don't imagine all those impossible postures. Yoga does not mean postures, yoga means union, okay? The word yoga literally means union. This is the first form of union. Your right and left. This is called as Pingala and Ida in yoga, the masculine and the feminine within you. Just put it together, just do the simple sadhana, all of you. You can't do any other yoga. This much you can do, isn't it? What you do is something that concerns your life. It could be the sun coming up. Sun is coming up. Without sun coming up, you wouldn't exist on this planet, isn't it? The warmth of life is going on within you only because the sun comes up. Without the tree exhaling oxygen and you exhaling in carbon dioxide for it and this exchange happening, you wouldn't be alive, isn't it? Like this, look at it, the food that you eat, the sun, the earth that you walk upon, air that you breathe, water that you drink, people who live around you, whatever, you choose anyone. Just do this, put your right and left together, perfectly, not like this, not like this, perfectly, okay? Just look at something that really matters to you. Maybe the sun, maybe the sky, maybe the cloud, maybe a tree, maybe a person, maybe a child, an animal, it doesn't matter what. Just look at it, putting your hands together for 10–12 minutes at a stretch. You will see, half your anxiety will start settling down. Because essentially the conflict is, there are two dimensions within you. I don't want to go into an elaborate description of this, because the yogic physiology goes elaborately into this. But to put it simply, even in modern medical science is telling you there's a right brain and a left brain, all right? Just put these two things together. Look at with utmost love and appreciation towards something that matters to you. It could be your wife, it could be your husband, it could be your child, a tree, a dog, sky, sun, moon, whatever. every one of them are vital for your life, isn't it so? Yes? Whatever you can relate to. Putting these two things together, just look at them with utmost pleasantness that you can generate, recognizing how important they are for you. Many things will change. This is the first form of yoga. If I do this, it'll become difficult. And there are many ways to do namaskar, like this, like that, like that. This is the most simple thing. Start here, okay? When it's not just in South America, there are such things in India also, which are of maybe not of the same species of plants but are of different nature, that a full cleanup happens. This was very essential for people who lived in forests, because if you live in nature, suppose you go out and live in a jungle, the number of parasites which live in your body will multiply, the variety and the number will multiply manifold. Recently there is a study which has been published which says there is a particular kind of parasite which is mainly present in the cat's excrement. If you played around with the cats and cat's excrement was around you, it is very much possible that this parasite is within you. This is not the only one. If you really put this under the scanner, there are many parasites, many of them. So once you live in nature, exposed to natural elements, the number of parasites which will reside in the body will greatly be enhanced. Some parasites could be dangerous to life, some parasites could cause damage to the system, but most others don't. They subsist on you and they also contribute something, so the body doesn't fight them too much and it goes on. The affair goes on without you knowing about it. That's okay. But over a period of time, as their numbers increase, they have to be cleaned up. So these systems were mainly designed for a complete thorough cleanup. In India, we have various methods where not always with hallucinogenic substances, but there are also concoctions with hallucinogenic things where it's complete purging, because in India we don't believe in bringing it back, we want to pump it down. So there are systems with which if you drink water after 2 hours, just pure water will come out. To that extent, your entire alimentary canal is just cleaned up thoroughly. This is something that was regularly done to all of us when we were growing up. Once a month, everybody has to go through total purging. Without that, they never believed there is going to be health, because this was one way of handling any kind of parasite that may grow. Not all parasites are in the form of worms or tapeworms or roundworms or whatever. There are parasites that you cannot see, they're micro in nature, you cannot see them but they exist. But to clean them up, and the maximum number of parasites normally reside in your digestive tract. And the blood parasites and the cellular parasites are there, but there is a way to impact them. These are all relatives. The parasites need an ecosystem of their own. If you completely remove the parasite presence in your digestive tract, the other parasites generally cannot subsist, except a few. Others cannot subsist because they need an ecosystem of their own kind. So to destroy that ecosystem periodically was a part of the tribal life, otherwise people would slowly get sick or dull and die early. All these things used to happen. Along with that, there is also a cleansing of emotional and psychological backlog that is building up within the human being. But once you use outside chemicals or substances to do these things, in some way you will get addicted to it, or in some way you will become limited to that process. But if anybody believes they will attain to consciousness by purging their digestive tract, they need a different kind of treatment, okay? Yes, it definitely cleanses the system, it makes certain things possible. People used hallucinogenic ways of accessing certain dimensions which are largely occult in nature. This is the reason why both in North America and South America, that occult evolved in a big way, because they used other kinds of aids to make themselves available to certain possibilities. I want you to understand just finding a little space in the chaos of your intellect, either with whatever the unpronounceable South American stuff, or with an LSD, or a drug, or whatever else, is only a temporary excess. And most of the time, this may leave you completely debilitated because one excess of a heightened experience and after that back on the ground, you will be broken. This is just like you were earning, let's say $10 million a year and you were used to spending $10 million a year. Suddenly, next year you got only $1 million. You will be broken because you have $1 million. Whole lot of people, it's their dream to have that $1 million. So, if you rise without earning it, by breaking the mind with chemicals, somehow you rose to some experience and then you came down, then you will see you will be far more miserable than ever before. I told them in India, people were complaining, Sadhguru, you're doing bhava spandanas only in America, you're not doing in India, you must do at least one in India. Then I said, for all of you who already done the BSP, minimum 3 times, I will give you one super BSP. Only thing is, for every participant, we need 3 volunteers. Because you need to carry a bucket for each one of them, because they will puke, I hope they won't do the other thing and they will flip, you have to carry them to their lunch, they won't know how to eat, you have to feed them. You'll have… This is what is happening in your South American treatment, okay? You won't know how to do anything, you're like all over, somebody has to put water in your mouth, somebody has to take you to the toilet, otherwise you'll do it everywhere. We can do a super BSP like that without any herb, without any chemical. We can tweak that dimension of you, which is a huge purging on all levels. But don't mistake this for consciousness. Yes, it gives you a certain relief, but it doesn't take you to any place. First of all, it's not a shortcut, it's a very long drawn-out process of endless puking and getting your intestines out, literally. I am talking about a shortcut. If you simply sit with your eyes closed, don't mess with your mind, you will become millionfold of ayahuasca, okay? If you just learn how not to mess with your mind, that's all. So, somebody wants to put a chemical and beat your mind down totally and give you some experience. See, please understand, you're walking on the street, if you take a stick and hit you on the head, that also will give you experiences, do you know? No, I'm not saying just of pain. People go through various levels of hallucinations when they're unconscious. Some people have pleasant experiences, some people have very unpleasant experiences. The same happens with this South American treatment also. Some people have such a bad experience that they never again want to go there, some people like it. So even if you bang your head on the wall, it can happen, because all it needs is that you're out of your memory sphere, that's all. You're still conscious, but you're out of the memory sphere, you will explode. So how to separate you from your memory? Shall we do it with chemicals or shall we do it with awareness is the only choice we have. Either we can do it with devotion or intensity of emotion or energy or awareness, we can do this. Now, chemicals if we use also, people have used LSD and felt fantastic, okay, they vouch by that. You are a bit too late. I come from a time when everybody around me was on it, all right? But I was on something else, which all of them wanted. Because they knew they go up and they go down, I'm always like this. So, the question is just this: what needs to happen from inside? If you pull it out from outside, do you believe there will be no consequences? Hello? See, we can do one thing, you eat food, it'll take time to digest this. So we pull out your stomach bag and do chuk 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 chuk. Digestion will happen quickly and put it back. It's a good trick. But you think it'll not have any consequence? This is all you're trying to do. So you can… see, people are always trying to weave a philosophy around those things about which they're compulsive. You want to promote your compulsiveness as consciousness. That's the whole problem. Everybody has a philosophy. You ask a drunkard and see why he is drinking, he has a very profound philosophy as to why he is a drunkard. Yes or no? Even ask a thief why he's a thief, he has his own philosophy as to why he's a thief. Everybody, when they want to do their nonsense, they have a philosophy. There is a difference between philosophy, there is a difference between physical dimensions of life. Chemistry is just a physical dimension in a certain way, and there is a big difference between all those things and becoming awakened. It's a completely different thing.
We appreciate your presence and active participation. Let's continue this journey together, exploring new horizons and sharing our light with the world.
te uroten pina Ahlarin yes Wakotule Tenemulun Buleva Harnate Elenil Estel Sila Across the waste of burning plains, think of the road with wrath untamed. His steed like thunder through the dust, a sacrifice that fate proclaimed. His eyes aflame with a light so wild, like fire in the valor's breath. Through Angband's gates he stormed alone to meet his fate in glory's death. The sons of Fëanor, driven lost and in Manoldo's grim defeat. With shattered hope and fury's call, he charged along to Morgoth's feet. He sounded his horn with the light so wild, like fire in the valor's breath. To Angband's gates he stormed alone to meet his fate in glory. His eyes aflame with a light so wild like fire in the valor's breast. To Rangvan's gates he stormed alone to meet his fate in glory's death. The sons of fair are driven lost and didn't know those grim defeats. With shattered hope and fury's call, he charged alone to Mordor's feet. Sounded his horn with a thunderous cry. The brazen doors replied in turn and called the Dark Lord forth to fight with a rage that none could spurn. Under blackened skies they clash in fire, a dance of steel, a test of wills. In every blow, a hero's pyre, as blood meets stone, the earth stands still. The hammer fell from heights, a force of doom and boundless hate. But Fingolfin, swift as a striking hawk, evaded death, defied his fate. His silver mail and crystal shield, they glimmered bright against the dark, like a lone star's defiant light, a guide through shadows cold and stark. With every swing of Ringill's blade, the giant trembled, strength unmade, by a king who dared to stand alone, who knew the weight of choices made. 7 wounds he dealt that night, 7 cries rang out in pain. As Angvan's hosts looked on in fright, they fell to earth like sudden rain. The ground, the blackened skies, they clash in fire, a dance of steel, a test of wills. In every blow, a hero's pyre, as blood meets stone, the earth stands still. The ground gave way to pits of grief beneath Morgoth's iron tread. Yet still the elven king arose, though wounds ran black, his courage bled. With one last cry he swung his blade and healed the Dark Lord's wicked heel. The blood poured forth a burning shade, unlocked no time to leave.